Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wednesday show. I'm Hammer, and I'm joined by my two favorite Wednesday show hosts, Terry D. Mantis.
Hello.
And Jen T. Maxey.
Hello.
How you doing, Jen?
I'm good.
How you doing, Terry?
I am doing well. As I've been telling people in chat, and as you already know, I bought a new computer.
Yeah. So you can play better games.
Well, I mean, it's not... It's kind of weird because I don't actually need a better computer, but
True.
I think it would let me run Street Fighter 6 better. Like, I would be able to turn up the settings.
Yeah.
So that's good. That's reason enough.
Yeah. Well, 15 years.
All the more to beat Mr. Adam with, I guess.
I can beat Adam just fine, but having a nicer computer is always a good thing.
Yeah. So you ordered it, and it's on its way? Is that the deal?
Yep. I don't know how long it'll be. They said 5 days for assembly, so I guess add delivery
That's
on
normal.
top of that.
Yeah, that's normal.
I appreciate that Australia is a bigger place than England.
Yes.
But I have a couple of friends who tracked how long it took them to send a part from London to a town that's maybe an hour away via traveling. And it took 6 weeks.
Oh my God.
He was so mad. He was like, if I had the money to just take the train and then take it myself, I would have.
Yeah.
Why did I pay you?
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
At least everything in Australia is on the same coast. You know, I mean, there are people, people living out in Perth, but basically all the industry is on the East Coast. So I know PCK skiers, they're in Victoria, aren't they?
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure they are.
So it shouldn't take too long.
No,
But
I mean,
5 days is
like I
reasonable.
was saying to you before, I can wait. I don't need it now. It's just, I mean, I've had the same computer for 15 years. A few extra weeks is not going to be an issue.
Let's go ahead and say hi to everybody in chat. Terry, you want to go first?
Sure. So over on Rumble, we have Green Badger. Apparently, this is the indoors version. We have Tier Alexander, Cannibalistic Wizard, W.R. Corsten, going by his secret alias, and Kivadan. I think that might be everyone. Oh, and Jack Dunsky showed up at the end.
Yeah. Jen?
We've got the usual suspects. We've got a one-ton hammer.
Oh my God.
And we got a Kiever Dam. And we've got a K-Shul and a Rotten Corpse. And we got ourselves a Terry. And we got a Jack again. So double early. And then we got a Tier. And we also got a Costin.
You guys are on both platforms. That's awesome. Well, of course, more people will show up as the night goes on. So we'll see what happens there. Go over. I don't think we have. Yeah, we should just go ahead and go over the topics for tonight if we get to them. 0 for 2. That is what's their name? Nikki Haley. Couldn't remember her first name. My notes, it just says Haley. Nikki Haley loses in Iowa in 3rd place behind DeSantis. DeSantis quits. So she runs against Trump in New Hampshire and loses to him there too. So, and everything is, all of the polls that were run for these two states were almost exactly perfect. The poll for Iowa was off by 1%. 1.
That's pretty impressive.
And the New Hampshire poll was off by a blazing 2%.
Oh, well, throw that one out.
Yeah, considering that margin of error is 5%, that's pretty fucking accurate. And now they're talking about how Nevada, the poll in Nevada has Trump up like 65 or something percent. So he's going to destroy Nevada. And I think Nevada's next. Either that or South Carolina's next. And Trump is leading in both of those. So Nikki's going to be 0 for 4 pretty soon.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think anybody likes Nikki Haley from what I've seen.
Well, the media does.
Yeah.
And Democrats do.
Yeah, the Democrats seem to really like her, but it's just every time she comes out with something new, she's memeable. Like the last one was, oh, she's Indian now. All of a sudden, she's Indian, and I'm like, what do you think Swami was?
It is weird.
He's American. I mean, he's American, but
well, it is weird that two of the candidates were Indian. Like Vivek and Nikki Haley are both from India. That's pretty weird for an American election.
Well, Vivek is using his real born name.
Yes, he is.
Nikki's using a name that her friends called her or some shit like that, but her real name is not Nikki.
It's Nimrata.
Nimrata. Jeez.
It's also, let's be real, she's playing the one drop rule. It's one of those things where it's not completely obvious that she's from a place. Whereas with Vivek, I don't doubt that he has people who make jokes about him just based off of where his ancestry's from.
That actually annoyed me when I saw on Twitter this clip of Nikki Haley having a big sob story about, oh, they made fun of me because I was brown. It's like, okay, and? Like, everyone gets made fun of as a kid. Well,
yeah, so brown is the reason I got you. I was taller than everybody else. They used to call me Towers. You know, I got made fun of. Everyone gets made fun of. Yeah, they just didn't make fun of me very much because I beat him up.
Yeah, I used to get fun of. I used to get made fun of for being a nerd. The fact he got made fun of for being fat. It's just kids being kids. I don't care that you got made fun of.
You get made fun of something. They're going to come after you for something if they want to.
I would say that was part of what made Vivek so admirable in the first place. Is we could see him getting that kind of grill from people. That they were actually making those kind of jokes. And like, I don't doubt sometimes he gets annoyed by it, but like he was handling it, shrugging it off, or like laughing it up.
Well, that whole thing with the Babylon Bee and the 7-Eleven, he made it. He loved that shit. He ate it up.
Like, joining in.
He played right into it. Yeah.
You know, like, and that impresses me a lot more than someone who's just like, I'm going to bring this out like it's a Joker card. Hey, guys, guess what I am?
I'm a survivor. What a great reply.
Yeah.
If worse comes to worse, I'll work at 7-Eleven. I'm good. I'm a survivor.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking funny, actually. Yeah, I mean, if you're willing to make fun of yourself, people are going to love you, so.
Yeah. Terry's saying, I doubt her story. Look, I can believe that she got made fun of for being brown. I mean, that's reasonably plausible. I just don't care. I just think, okay, everyone gets made fun of. If that's meant to pull in my heartstrings, it failed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're not a politician if you don't have some lies in your back pocket to pull out when you need them, you know?
Yeah.
So I would say that she probably got made fun of because she's a girl by the boys. You know, if you're going to school where she is, she wasn't the only brown girl. And that becomes a little clique. Suddenly you have 6 or 7 little brown girls all in the same clique that protect themselves, you know?
Yeah.
So
but my point is just, look, if I'm meant to feel sorry for you because you got made fun of as a kid, then you're going to need something better than that. Because every single person that I've ever met was made fun of for something as a kid.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, the things you get made fun of while you're in school end up being positives when you're out of school.
Yeah.
You know? So people get made fun of this, that, or the other. When they leave school and go out in the real world, those become their strengths. And suddenly they're excelling in their life because of those things that they were made fun of in school. You know? So she's obviously excelling because she was brown when she was a kid. You know?
Yeah, but that, like...
not brown now.
Sarah's saying, no... she never once mentioned story before. It's like, I don't care. Look, if she says she was picked on, fine, she was picked on. That's believable. Whether it was for being brown or whatever, I don't care. She got picked on, fine. But like, that doesn't mean anything to me. It's just like,
we all got picked on for something.
Yeah.
So it should be interesting to see if the polls hold up, considering how accurate they've been for the first 2 states. If they hold up for the next 2 states, she says she's in it for the long haul, but she's governor of South Carolina, I think, right? So if she loses in her own state, that's going to be embarrassing.
That would be funny though. That would be funny.
It'd be hilarious. But I don't think it's a smart political decision to make to lose in your own home state. You get out before that happens. All the politicians that did it. I mean, Kamala got out before it went to her home state. Obviously, DeSantis got out before Florida. So it's a smart. You maintain some dignity if you don't get beat in your own home state. So we'll see what she does. She's said several times, and if you look at the things that she's posting like crazy on Twitter, I don't know if you. I'm getting kind of bombarded. I was thinking about muting her. I'm getting so many posts from her.
Yeah.
But when she talks on Twitter, she talks like she won.
Yeah.
She thanks New Hampshire for their support. They didn't support you, Mitch. They supported Trump. What the fuck are you talking about? So,
see, I think like everyone in chat is like disputing the facts. Like, she's not brown, she's white. Like, look, I don't care. It's like, if she was made fun of for being brown, fine. If she was made fun of something else, fine. My point is, it doesn't matter that she got made fun of. It doesn't matter what she got made fun of. Whether she's telling the truth or not is completely irrelevant, because the point she's making has no impact. It's like, oh, boo-hoo, I got picked on as a kid. Okay.
She was a lot browner when she was a kid. Did you see the pictures of her?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was a lot browner when she was a kid.
And that's why I can believe she got made fun of for being brown. If she didn't, she probably got made fun of for something else. Either way, who gives a fuck?
It's also that she, like, nobody's going to really know when she stopped really just looking the way that she would have as a kid. And I would say that's actually been a long time. You know, it's like I'm pulling another name out of my pocket. Meghan Markle is another example of somebody who hasn't looked like somebody who's been related to her mom since she was a child, because the entirety of her life has been bent on trying to not look like her mom. So when Haley's just like, oh, I'm gonna live under the blanket of my ancestry, as though she's actually done that. Lady, you sound like a Yank. Just be a Yank.
Yeah.
You know, it's okay to be a melting pot kid. You know, everyone gets made fun of in the melting pot. You might have been the mildly browned one, but you weren't the brown kid. Yeah. You know, or at least you haven't been for a really long time. And I'm actually really getting. It is one of those things where, like, if I was a person of color, every time somebody does that, like pulls this I'm a person of color, like, that's supposed to be like, what does that do for me? What does that do for me as a voter? What does that do for anybody as a voter?
I don't care about your skin color. That's totally irrelevant.
Like, it's the expectations, the low expectations thing. I'm really sick of it, and I'm really sick of them being, well, this is a sudden hidden skill. I'm like, it's not a hidden skill. It doesn't do shit for anybody.
Yeah.
I want somebody who sounds qualified. That's what I'd like.
And a cannibalistic wizard over on Rumble says her favorite poll is any man's when her husband is away.
Yeah.
Free cookies sound awesome, Kiever Dam. Sorry, I had to interrupt.
The three strike rules what gets me with her. First of all, she's a rhino. I don't like warmongers. I really don't. So that was the first strike. Then the whole thing with my heels are my ammunition. She's a raving
feminist.
He's a raving feminist. So, and then she said, "Oh, everybody who's on the internet, I want to know who they are."
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
3 strikes. That
hurt her big time. Nobody wants the internet to be.
And then she denied saying it, and then Ron ran an ad with her saying it. So,
like, do they not realize that, like, there's
video
footage?
exists? Yeah.
It's not just that. I kind of have these expectations that the politicians are going to be liars. And if you're an international politician, I kind of expect you to be a liar. I'm hoping to some degree that you are a good liar. She's a bad liar. And that's what I mean. It's not a good thing to lie, but there are kind of jobs where, like, I kind of understand why you would do that. You know? Is it, you know, like, there's good face and then there's protecting your own assets. And if I know that you can't lie worth a damn, you probably shouldn't be in charge of the country either, because the other opponents, the other countries that everybody are kind of concerned about right now, they can tell when you're lying too.
Yeah. Well, all signs point to failure here, and I'm fine with it. So
Yes.
Well, I think I do think she's the Republican Hillary Clinton.
just how many millions of dollars is she going to spend to stay in the race? That's what's the curiosity for me now.
Probably too many.
Well, you heard about the whole thing with New Hampshire and how people voted, right? 72% of Republicans voted for Trump, and like 23% of non-committals, which could be anybody, including Democrats in New Hampshire, voted for him. On the Haley side, 78% of non-committals voted for her. So basically Democrats.
So I just saw an episode of South Park that is actually relevant. I've been watching them, and I'm up to season 8. It's Giant Douche versus Turd Sandwich, the vote for the new South Park mascot, school mascot. And I think that they made a good point. Every election is basically between a douche and a turd.
I'm actually more...
Was that the one with Kanye going around and threatening you?
It was P. Diddy. It was Puff Daddy.
Okay.
Yeah, and he went around threatening to murder Stan.
the other black guy.
Yeah, if you don't vote, he's going to cap your knee.
Yeah. Vote or die. And what do you think it means, bitch? And then he chases after Stan with a gun.
I'm actually more interested in 2028 already. Because 2024 is pretty much set in stone. We know everything that's going to happen now. So there's no mystery anymore. There's no surprise. I want to know who's going to be in 2028, because it's not going to be Trump. So who's it going to be then? It's definitely not going to be Biden. He'll be dead a long time before by the time 2028 comes around. So
I could see it being another toss-up between DeSantis, and I don't know if Vivek would run again. I wish he would. I did actually like a lot of what he had to say. Like, I want to see what he could actually do. Even if he's not in charge, I'd like to see what he could do.
Depends what happens to him now. If he becomes the vice president, then he'd better run.
Yeah,
it's being handed to him on a plate. It's his to lose. Incumbents almost always win, almost.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, if he becomes vice president, then he's gonna have to run for president. He really has a choice.
The incumbent tends to win unless there's been fortification of the election.
Yeah, fortification. Or a whatchamacallit, a viral infection.
Yeah.
He just often enough displayed what looked like integrity. Like, I don't doubt he has his own things that he's doing, that kind of stuff, but I liked the integrity. Like the I'm not going to do this because it's not right. Or we should actually have things that we believe in, that kind of thing. Like, I actually like it a lot when people display that their words have meaning and they act on them. I am tired of the people who talk a lot of talk and then don't do shit. We pay a lot of people to do fuck all. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of paying people to do fuck all. I mean, we don't have a lot of money to begin with half the time, but
I'm kind of on board, honestly. Between the three of us, I'm kind of on board with our House and Senate not doing anything, because if they're not doing anything, they're not doing anything wrong.
I agree with that. I think what's his face, Milei in Argentina. We need to get some afuera going on. In Australia, in America, in Canada, just afuera, the whole lot.
But
everybody goes.
But I hate to break it to you, that's going to take work. That's going to take someone actually having the balls to do the work. And I think that's part of what Trump needs. He needs to actually have a decent team of people who are going to back him up. He had some people before, but you could tell that there were a lot of backstabbers. And goodness, that's going to be hard going this round and knowing who's who, because
Can you imagine Trump walking into the Department of Education and yelling at the top of his lungs, "You're all fired," and then walking back out again? It'd be glorious.
It would be. It would be the most amazing.
You're all fired. I'm leaving.
Yeah.
He'd do it too. He would do it.
Oh, I would love that.
Yeah. I mean, he's used to firing people. He was on The Apprentice for so long. So
yeah, he's
that was his whole gimmick. Yeah.
Yeah.
He practiced at it, you know. Yeah, I'd like to see that too.
Well,
but yeah, we'll see in the future, I guess.
the fact that he's going to take the GOP nomination, that's a foregone conclusion. What happens after that?
Oh, well,
the only thing,
even before like anything happened, it was a foregone
everyone
conclusion.
pretty much thought he would. Yeah, except for the possibility. There's always possibility of surprise, but the question now is what happens with the DeSantis people, because and what happens with Nikki when she backs out? Are people going to really jump behind Trump at that point? Because it's not turning out that way with DeSantis. Most of the people who left DeSantis went to Haley, because the people who supported Ron DeSantis never really supported Ron DeSantis. No. The only reason they were supporting Ron is because they don't like Trump.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
they're actually Republicans with TDS, is what they are.
Basically, they would rather
Ben Shapiro.
They would rather tank the country than take what they have, and I'm sorry that you don't have someone at the moment who's better than Trump, but that's what you had running.
Well, there's this girl on Twitter. Her name's Courtney Nill, Knill. She's a big DeSantis fan, and she would intentionally antagonize Trump supporters on behalf of her support of Ron DeSantis.
That's not a good plan.
And then, of course, Ron dropped out, and everyone's like kind of giving her shit. And what she's doing now, she's saying, "Well, I'm not going to vote for Trump anyway. I'm going to." She doesn't say what she's going to do, but my bet is she votes for Biden.
Or she just stays home.
I just think that she's spiteful enough. She hates Trump enough that she would do that. She's not. She's not dedicated to the Republicans. She just, whatever she can do to hate Trump and get rid of Trump, that's what she's going to do. If it means voting for Biden, she'll do that. That's the impression that I get.
I don't know this person, so I'll take your evaluation for what it is. But yeah, I mean, if she's that opposed to Trump, then yes, she would vote for Biden.
I don't think it's going to work out the way they think it will. Like a lot of the votes that went to Biden were also Bernie bros. And I remember that. Like Bernie actually had a decent run going back during that part of the election. Mm-hmm. And I remember they were really still spiteful from Biden. And I think living under Biden, I could see them being disenfranchised and just not voting at all. Like I think a lot of them are in that boat of like deep depression, like we have nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
So if the memes are correct, it's not just ex-Bernie bros, it's ex-living people who are vote Democrat.
I remember that number actually being really large, and I think a lot of them banded together for Biden as a last-ditch effort to just get rid of Trump. But like having Biden and like who else do they have? The Dems are so outright, obviously dirty right now.
They got nothing. I mean, the only thing I could think of is the governor of California. What's his name?
Newsom.
Yeah, Gavin
Newsom.
It is kind of like that with them. I also think that they're aware of how dirty the Democratic Party actually is. Like the values that they actually have aren't what they're seeing from the Democrats. You know, like I don't like listening to Cenk for longer than I have to, but every once in a while I'll listen to somebody else's clip, you know, and yeah, even his group is saying like, no, there's too much dirty shit going on in there. Like they're desperately trying to fight with the Democratic Party just to have a right to vote somebody else in.
The Democrats don't want Biden. He's too old. They know it.
It's not just that. They know he's corrupt. They don't doubt that the shit that's going on with the laptop and all that. I don't doubt that they know that shit's probably true.
Biden is corrupt? No. You must be thinking of someone else.
Like, we're all corrupt, so.
like, as much as we keep going on about the pedo parade, I don't think they're happy about so much of that whiffing from their side either. I'm sorry. If I knew that so many people in our Conservative Party had their fingers tied to what looks like diddling, I wouldn't want anything to do with them. I would be planning out pitchforks.
He's still sniffing kids. He just did it the other day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's creepy.
It is so creepy. You would think by now that they would say, "Would you please stop doing that?" Maybe they have. He just forgets.
No. There's no point telling him. He's senile. Just don't let him in the same room as kids. Don't.
It's so vile that I don't think they understand how many people are at the breaking point of being like, no, I think Carthage was right. I think what Rome did to Carthage was right. I know that sounds like a lot of hyped up energy, but I'm sorry, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the most vile people being in charge of the most powerful country on the planet. And it's not just yours. Like, Canada is a peanut in comparison, but the influence we have in that kind of I don't want people like that in charge anymore.
My conspiracy theory is the lizard people have made sure that only pedophiles are allowed in government so that they can blackmail them into reinforcing the lizard agenda.
I'm just saying, like, if the worst thing you've ever done in your life is you've had a divorce or you slept with somebody else when you shouldn't have, no, that wasn't a good thing, but at least it wasn't diddling.
Yes, no, I agree.
You know, and if that's all they've got on Trump, I don't think he's a nice man. I don't think
of course not.
I don't think he's someone that I would want to do a deal with, because I would probably end up screwed for life. But all the same, as a president, that's the guy you want on your side.
I don't need the president to be like chaste and only have slept with his wife. It's like, I mean, it speaks to character. It's a good thing if he has a good character, but
yeah, DeSantis was that guy.
Yeah, but ultimately, are you a good leader is far more important than who you sleep with and how loyal you are to your wife.
Yeah. Well, of all the people that came in, Ramaswamy didn't have any kind of baggage either. He didn't. I mean, he's a single guy, right? He's not married.
I think so.
He's married.
Is he married?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So there's nothing with him, right?
It was actually kind of funny, and I don't mean to meme the guy again with the same meme as somebody else's did, but when he stands next to his wife, the Abu image gets bigger. But that's not, I don't think that's an insult. I still don't think that's an insult. Like, out of the Simpsons character, Abu seemed like the most established character. Like, he was based, he was normal, he owned his own business, he was successful with a wife and had kids. He had two kids, but
that whole controversy was retarded. Just you can't have Apu, who is an Indian, voiced by a white person, Hank Azaria. So they had to get rid of. I think they just got rid of the character. Like, that's stupid.
It's unusual that it affected that specific program too. Of all the things that someone would bend the knee to,
yeah,
I didn't think it would be a poo of all people to get wiped out.
Thierry's saying married with kids, so presumably he means Vivek is married and has children.
Yeah. Well, music poll. Look at that timing.
Oh, there you go. Perfect time.
But you know what,
folks? Go ahead and pick your favorites.
As much as I don't mind the odd joke of calling Vivek a poo, I don't want to jinx him with what happened to Apu. Eight children is a rare thing, but I wouldn't want to curse anyone with that. You know, if you're gonna have 8 kids, you stagger that shit. you stagger it so you can use some of the kids as free labor to help you raise the other kids. So I'm sorry, I have friends like that. But all the same, I've known people with two, like the twins, and they're run off their butt. The minute you have more than that, you need help. You need an assistant.
Me, my brother, and my sister are all separate from each other. My sister is 5 years older than my brother, and my brother is 7 years older than me.
Wow.
Then I'm sorry to your sister, but that's probably what happened. Maybe not all the time, but you know.
I'm the oldest in my family by quite a margin. It's 8 years between me and the next, and then like there's 2 years between the next and the next. So I'm like 12 years older than my sister.
Wow.
So am I wrong? Am I wrong?
You do a lot of helping your parents raise. Yeah, you did. I guess you gotta, you know.
Yeah, I mean, but they always framed it as, you know, me being a grown up and helping out. So because the age difference was that big, I was kind of like the middle step between the my siblings and my parents, because I was like, so I wasn't like a third parent by any means, but I was kind of like, it was my responsibility to take care of them at least a little bit.
I don't think it's necessarily all that bad either. Like when you're doing it, there's the odd time where you're like, yeah, I was doing something else. That part might be annoying, but I've got a friend who's a little bit younger, and he's got a big Italian family. And every once in a while, yes, he ends up having to care for his younger siblings. But every once in a while, those younger siblings, when they show appreciation, you can tell he likes it. You know, and that's why I can understand why you would do it. It's not always because your parents ask. Sometimes you just do it because it's good to do.
Yeah, but like as a kid, like feeling like a grown up is, you know, it's what you want. You want to feel like, oh, I'm a grown up. I'm you know, looking after my siblings, and like I'm practically an adult now. You know, I mean, obviously I was like 14, 15, but it felt like, you know, I'm grown up now.
Yeah, I still think a sibling, like a younger sibling, showing like affection to an older sibling, like, you know, when they greet you, like it is like puppy love. They're so happy to see you.
Yeah. I mean, me and my siblings get along great now. I mean, obviously we had our fights when we were kids.
Yeah.
But as adults, no, we get along great.
Yeah, you're gonna have scraps. You're gonna have scraps. You'll even have scraps when you're older too.
Well, family, you know.
Yep. Yeah. I see them once a year, so that I think that stops us getting on each other's nerves. It's like we're happy to see each other because it's been a year since the last time we saw each other.
We got two more topics for tonight. We got 108X and we have Wired.
Okay.
Which one do you want?
I don't know either of them, so it'll be a surprise.
I'm guessing Wired is all about people on Fightcade using Wi-Fi and how it needs to be banned.
I sent you guys show notes.
Or you don't play.
Not my fault.
It's okay.
My Han Solo. It's not my fault. Well, let's go in order then. 108X. This is the story. It just broke this today, I think. A woman decided that she took a hit of, I don't know if it was just a regular bong hit of marijuana or what it was, but she got some kind of weird marijuana poisoning, lost her mind, and stabbed her boyfriend 108 times.
Jesus Christ.
Killed him.
Yeah.
Then turned the weapon on herself and started stabbing herself before she was stopped.
Pointing out that he died is probably a bit redundant if he got stabbed 108 times.
Yeah. So, yeah, she went to jail. They arrested her on murder, and then they reduced it to negligent homicide, I think was.
Not as good.
And then they sentenced her to no jail time, 2 years probation.
That's kind of fucked up.
How many times did she stab herself?
I don't know how many times she stabbed herself, but she got him 108.
Obviously not enough, but
Yeah. Or, no. It only takes one stab. She just stabbed all the wrong spots. She should have gone straight to the heart.
The mitigating circumstance here was the judge felt that if she's stabbing herself, then she's not in her right mind and not responsible for what she did. But if you look at the law doesn't make that that delineation. Even if you're not in your right mind, you still go to jail.
Yeah,
I mean,
it should.
It should, because I mean, how would you explain the drunk drivers?
I was going to make that exact point. Otherwise, drunk driving isn't a crime. It's like, oh, well, my judgment was impaired because I was drunk.
Yeah.
I am tired of that too. It's the leeway of low expectations and wondering why we have problems. And like, don't get me wrong, I don't doubt she was out of her mind. You know, if she was stabbing herself too, that part I believe, but you still fucked up. You still have to do some time, or at least, you know, do time and some therapy while you do time.
I actually hope she was counting the number of stabs, and it was 108 specifically. Like, she intended exactly 108 stabs. He's like, 1, 2, 3, 4. And he's like, you see the clock ticking, 106, 107, 108. Okay, I can stop.
She was suffering from cannabis-induced psychosis at the time. This actually happened in 2018. But it just went to trial. It's got the court just finished debating on this.
Cynic says that she apparently also stabbed the dog.
I've just never really heard of that. Like, when you say pot and like overdose, and I'm like, I can't remember how much you gotta smoke to overdose, but it's a shit ton. Like, even strong stuff. Like, you pass out before you.
Yeah, I don't think you OD. I think they're saying that it causes brain damage.
Like, so I don't really understand that excuse. Like, there are drugs that, I wouldn't. There are people I don't trust on the street because they look like they're on drugs. You know, it's not the color of your skin or anything like that. It's like, you know, the way you're twitching. I don't know how to handle if you're pissed off. That's really all it is. But potheads, I've never had a problem with. Drunks, on the other hand.
Cynic says, my mum had the same thing happen. She didn't kill anyone. Then she wasted her opportunity.
Ventura,
she had it, and then she threw it away. She could have killed someone.
Ventura County Superior Court Judge David Worley. Of course, as soon as I start talking, I get a pop-up. Defended his decision to sentence her to no prison time. From that point, quote, from that point forward, she had no control over her actions, he said, referring to the moments after she had smoked the portion of marijuana, per the Ventura County Star. Her attorney agreed, calling the sentence a fair and accurate reflection of conduct that he claims was out of his client's control. I'll just tell you this, if it was a guy, he'd be in jail right now.
He would.
Oh, yeah. No, they would have thrown away the key.
I mean, he would be, because like they have this blind spot where it comes to the law. Like, if she's blackout drunk, well, you know, that's a no-no. But if he's blackout drunk, well, that's okay then. You know, like, or if he does something wrong when he's blackout drunk, well, then you get to go to jail.
Oh, yeah. I mean, from what I've heard, if two drunk people, a man and a woman, have sex, then the man raped the woman because she's too drunk to consent.
Right.
They don't say that he was too drunk to consent. Only the woman was.
I think it's actually pretty admirable that if he was that drunk that he could actually perform.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the first things that goes when you get drunk.
I have heard tales of whiskey dip. It is true.
I'm not a drinker. I haven't had alcohol since I was 20, so I have no experience on it, but I've heard
me
people
neither.
talk.
I don't drink either.
So
I have heard.
Yeah, all the guys are going to tell you that they've heard, and they won't tell you that they actually happened to them.
No, actually, Siddiq had a pretty good explanation for it. It's just all the same. I still question that when I hear it. Like, did they have any traces of the pot to prove that? Like, did she have a pipe? Because I'm sure that they could trace that shit from the pipe. But I don't think they look into that shit.
Yeah, I don't have any more specifics because all the literature just talks about how it's unfair. Nobody talks about the details of the. I was looking through 5 or 6 different articles, and they all just talk about how it's unfair. They don't talk about what was done. They don't talk about the specifics of the case. They just say, "Oh, this is what the outcome was, and it's unfair." Well, that's great, but you're all saying the same thing. Does anybody have any more detail? No. There's videos, but I'm not going to play them during the show.
I think that's why they do that. Like, if you don't ask like harder questions, like, well, did you check to see what kind of pot she was smoking? Because she probably has traces of that. I mean, you can find who murdered a suspect like from like the 1920s, but you're telling me you can't, like, you know, get her pipe and then just swab it and see what was in that? Because I don't mind if they tell you that, yeah, they did that, and yeah, it was laced. But I just think that they're looking for easy excuses because it's a crazy story, and yeah, she stabbed herself, so boo-hoo. I think there was something else she smoked.
Something else must have happened because marijuana doesn't do that to you.
Yeah.
Must have been something else going on.
Yeah. I don't know. I know nothing about the effects of being high on marijuana. I can believe that, you know, she had underlying mental illnesses, and it was more likely to be that than the weed. That makes sense to me. I think it makes a lot of sense that it was a mental illness, not just
marijuana-induced psychosis. What the fuck is that?
Because that is something that could be explained. Now, pot can make you paranoid. That is actually a thing. You know, some people... Okay, I am hearing you. Just sounds weird. Yeah, some people, if they smoke too much, or if they have a personality of being paranoid, it'll hype it up because, yeah, you're just kind of relaxed in your head a little bit more.
See, I don't know. I don't know why anyone would enjoy being stoned, because I've tried it literally once. I was in Amsterdam. I thought I have to try marijuana while I'm in Amsterdam. Otherwise, what's the point of going to Amsterdam? I did not enjoy it. I just basically felt dizzy, and I was like, I'm going to lie down. And then that was it. That was my marijuana experience. Like, this is not worth paying for.
You smoked too much.
I don't know what I did wrong, but it was not enjoyable. It wasn't like my head was like spinning. It was just like mildly dizzy. It was like, this is unpleasant. I don't know why anyone would want to feel this way. I'm going to go lie down.
That's what I mean. Like, if they gave you a first hit, it was probably too strong for you. And I know that sounds crazy, but like, for a beginner, like, I remember when I first tried a little bit. That was about 20 years ago. And it was about the size of my pinky nail. It was very tiny. It was probably the smallest bowl you could get, and even then that was a half one. So if they gave you a full hit and you took it, it would have been too much for you in the first go.
As far as I'm concerned, they did me a favor, because it just reinforced my lack of desire to ever get stoned ever again. So, I mean, it's kind of the same as when my dad let me puff on a cigarette when I was 5. It's like, you know what? I would very much like to never have that that experience ever again. I will not go within a foot of a cigarette for the rest of my life. Thank you very much. And I think it's basically the same. It's like, well, this was not an enjoyable experience. I got nothing out of this. I will never have any reason to get high ever again.
But I totally respect that. It's just what they did to you was kind of like, imagine you're going to have a beer for the first time, and you're not going to be a drinker either. Maybe you're not going to be a drinker either, but the beer they gave you was 100 proof.
Yeah, look, I mean, like I said, I'm not saying you're wrong. It probably was too strong of a dosage. I'm just saying it probably worked out for the best, because I have no interest in smoking marijuana or tobacco or even drinking alcohol for the rest of my life. So I'm good. I'm good on that front. It's probably saved me a ton of money.
It's not for everybody either. I mean, I would, you know, outside of just being real about what it is, I wouldn't necessarily force it on anyone. But I am just being honest about it. Like, I wouldn't want to. It's like, I'm not a big drinker either, for similar reasons. Like, when I drink anything, it just makes me want to vomit. But everybody that I've ever heard tell a Sambuca story will mention the one time where they drank too much Sambuca and they can't drink it anymore.
It looks like the music poll is quite comprehensively in favor of 2 songs.
Yeah, it's very binary tonight.
The other 2 were 0% each.
Yeah, yeah. Nobody voted for the bands that had female artists.
There you go. Misogyny, thy name is Minions.
Yeah. Or at least the music poll.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be Chumbawamba. That's fine. That's a good.
And I also agree with Kividan. Licorice is disgusting. I can't eat it. And so if Sambuca tastes like licorice, I do not want to try it.
Well, Sambuca tastes like black licorice.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm racist. That's the worst kind of licorice.
So
it's made with I think it has the aniseed.
Yeah, I like strawberry licorice.
Aniseed is the thing that makes it taste bad.
I like Twizzlers. I like strawberry and cherry licorice. That's good, but I don't like black licorice.
And Lisa is pointing out that Chumbawamba has female members. It's true. One of them sings in Tub Something.
Is she backup singer?
Pissing the night away.
Yeah, that's right.
That's a woman. Like, she's not doing the I get knocked down.
Right. But even if she is, she's probably going to be. Even if she is singing that part, she's going to be singing along with the guys. You're not going to be able to hear her anyway, so that's fine.
Cynic says black licorice is the only licorice. Yeah, and I don't like it.
Well,
the red shit is just candy. Well, I don't like that either.
In all honesty, if you're going to do black licorice, do the real stuff, because at least that it's herbal. You know, there's a reason and a point to it. It's not pleasant, but, you know, most things that are herbal or good for you aren't supposed to be pleasant.
I could do black licorice if it's good and plenty. Because the candy makes it sweet, so it's not so bad. But the last thing we have up on the topics for tonight is Wired, not the magazine. This is Texas going rogue and putting up razor wire where the government's saying that they want to take it down. You guys have heard about this, right?
Yeah.
In passing, I haven't dug deep into it, but I'm vaguely familiar with them doing that. SCOTUS
has said that the Fed is allowed to cut the razor wire. And when Abbott heard that, he said, oh, yeah? Well, we're just going to put more razor wire up. So he's working on doubling the amount of razor wire that's on the border, because he says we're going to protect the country if Biden doesn't do it, we're going to do it. And he doesn't give a shit if SCOTUS said that they can do it. He's going to ignore SCOTUS. He's going to ignore the president. He's going to ignore everybody and do what the fuck he wants.
Good. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's doing the right thing.
And he's getting a lot of support from a lot of people about it, too. A lot of people are like, damn right.
Well, I mean, he's got my support, and I don't even live in Texas. or the United States, for that matter.
I'm just surprised. I'm not surprised that he's doing it. I'm surprised that the government has not done anything to stop him. You know?
Usually they would, yes.
I was expecting some kind of intervention, you know, send a bunch of federal agents down there, but I can't imagine the federal military, which, you know, I don't think it would be actually our military, but federal agents going hand to hand against state constables and Leos and stuff like that. I can't imagine it coming down to pointing weapons at each other, but it could get that way. It could get to that point. So
I wouldn't want to do that with Texas, though. Like, I know Texas has like one or two towns where they're maybe a little bit liberal, but the majority of Texas, with as armed as they are,
Yeah. Well, the cities are blue, but the rural that's a huge rural state. So it's all
I
that
think
stuff is all red.
from what I've heard, that's basically true of the entire country, where
Yeah.
it's only the cities that are ever Democrat. It's just in some states the cities are big enough that they turn the whole state blue in terms of the electoral college.
Yeah. California, for example. There's
Yeah,
just L.A. and San Francisco, San Diego. There's so many
yeah. But if you go to like
cities.
rural California, they're not.
Yeah, if you like Northern California where it's more rural, there's a lot of red up there, but
Yeah,
they basically don't have a vote because there's so much blue.
no.
That's a waste.
I think your voting system is kind of messed up. I don't like it
Really?
at all.
You think so?
Uh,
Yeah, it is.
like as you say, if you live in a state and your vote is not the correct one, then you might you don't have a say. Like if you're, I mean, it would be the same if you were, I don't know what a bright red state is, because apparently Texas is turning slightly purpler, but like
Florida.
old school Texas, where it was like 100% guaranteed to go to the Republicans. If you're a Democrat in that, then you might as well like not vote. It's not going to do anything.
Right. I got to imagine that the people who are rural in California feel the same way.
Yeah.
Why are we here?
Everyone that I know from California, and I always forget what Scribe said, where Scribe says he's from, but everyone that I know from the rural, if they're not moving just to get away from the fact that they can't change it, like they're voting but they can't change anything, they have no say in how their life is run because the cities, it's actually kind of sad. It's not just the city people leaving to go to Texas so they can fuck up Texas. You guys should build a wall to block out Californians too.
I don't think they could. I don't think they're allowed to.
But all the same, it is frustrating. I actually feel a lot in that regard, because as Alberta is a Western province, we're based off of numbers. It's the amount of seats you have in the Senate, and we have bare minimum because we don't have the population. So it takes like 5 other provinces, or all of us except for like 2, to do a change in the country. And it's super frustrating because two little tiny cities in Ontario dictate to the rest of Canada how we live.
Yeah.
It's like, how are you any different from what anyone else in the past has kind of resented?
Well, we try to.
Maybe it's because it's what I've always had and what I've grown up with, but I actually like Australia's system where you rank the candidates rather than just voting for a single one.
Yeah.
I think that works a lot better because it actually gives you a reason to vote for someone other than the 2 major parties.
I think we tried to get around that with Electoral College, but it's not perfect. And
No,
believe me, I'm a fan of your ranked system too. So if we could, I mean, we tried it. We did it with Alaska last year, I think, or the year before, and it didn't work out very well for us.
What happened?
I don't think they implemented it properly, and there was a lot of confusion, and people didn't understand what was going on, and blah 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 blah.
I mean, it does make sense that there's going to be confusion when you transition to a whole new system.
Right.
So that makes sense.
So I don't know if they kept it, or if they went back to the way it was, or what the deal is, but yeah, I'm very much for ranked voting too. I think that's a better way of doing it. I don't know how that would work with the college system that we have now, but if we could do it, I would prefer it, because it's important to be able to say, well, if it's not going to be that guy, then it should be this guy. That function should be built into the system.
Yeah, because when I vote, which is rare, usually I just submit a blank piece of paper, or I put a line through the boxes so they can't just fill in what they want. But if I vote, it's for what used to be called the racist party back in the 90s. Everyone thought that One Nation was this hyper racist So okay, they get my vote. They're number one, and then I can make sure that I put the Greens dead last, so that like I don't vote for them. I can put the Labour Party just above the Greens because they're almost as bad. Then I can put the Liberals because they fucking suck too. And then it's like whatever the non-major parties are, I put One Nation first, and then if there's anyone else on the ballot ahead of the three shitty ones, they can get a vote ahead of the others.
It's funny, Claudie. I used to talk to Claudie, and she said she's been voting for the Greens for a long time.
That does not surprise me.
It's pretty funny. I just got a message from OBS Studio saying it disconnected.
Oh.
And I just got a message from OBS saying it has reconnected successfully.
So good.
I had no idea what's going on. Somebody help me. Yeah, there's been a little dip in the whatchamacallit.
And it looks like Cynic approves of my disdain for the Greens Party.
I don't think there's a single country who has anything but disdain for their Greens Party.
Well, this is the correct opinion.
We don't really have a Greens. We have an independent, but that would be more like Labor than it would be the Greens. So we don't really have that party, but that's because we don't have any parties. We have 3 parties. That's it, and one of them doesn't count.
What's the one that doesn't count? Is that the Libertarians?
That's the independent.
Oh, independent. You're considering that as a party? Okay.
It is a party. The independents are a party.
Really? I thought independent just meant they were independent. They weren't in a party.
No, they have their own party. They have their own, like RFK is their front runner in the independent party.
Do they not see the irony in calling themselves independents while being literally a party?
No one ever votes for her. I mean, no. There's never a groundswell for anybody, because Ross Perot was part of the independent party, I believe, and he's the only person who ever got any kind of votes through that. But
it's just stupid calling yourselves the independent party when, like, the whole point of being independent is that you're not in a party.
Yeah, well, the independent party is independent from the other parties.
Yeah, I guess, but it's still stupid.
Yeah, it is.
It's like the Lone Rangers. It's like, okay,
why call a party the Greens? Why not make them the Reds or the Blues, the Yellows?
Well, the Greens is because they're environmentalists.
Oh, that makes sense.
I have to laugh at one of Lisa's jokes because she's saying that Russia wants Alaska back. Actually, Lisa,
I heard
Russia doesn't really want Alaska back. They might think they want Alaska back, but the first thing that's going to happen when they get Alaska back is they're going to pay a shit ton out of pocket to make it function, which is why they sold Alaska in the first place.
Yeah, but Alaska's got oil now, so that's why they want it.
I was hoping you were going to say they're going to pay a shit ton of capital gains tax.
It's not the capital gains. It's how are you going to get that oil to Russia? You'd have to
build a pipeline.
Either build a pipeline or you'd have to tank it, and you can't do it through those waters. You'd have to do an exchange through both the U.S. and Canada, and I guarantee you we wouldn't support that either. There's too many cooks up here.
We'd make it too expensive, so that would be useless to do it.
So it wouldn't be doable. They would be vulnerable with tankers going back and forth, and it's just too expensive.
Yeah,
it wouldn't be.
The pipeline would be their only way of doing it, and that's going to be expensive too. But at least it's a one-shot deal.
It's one of those things where they think they want something, and then it's kind of like that moment when you're like, well, okay, have it. Okay, have it.
Cannibalistic over in Rumble says the Greens Party sounds like a vegan party. Pretty much. You're not wrong. Yeah. It's the far left environmental nutjobs.
Yeah. Well, considering everything that's going on with Ukraine and Russia, they're in no position right now to make any demands about Alaska at all anyhow.
Yeah.
So they can jump up and down, yell and scream all they want, but if anybody shows up there that's Russian, we're going to defend it, and that's going to be that.
Yeah.
I mean, there is the odd person in Russia who wants everything that they used to have back. I mean, that is Russian pride. There is a sense of Russian pride when they say stuff like that, but a lot of times it's just jokes or it's politics. But when I think about what would happen if they did it, I'm like, I don't know that it's going to work out the way you think it will. Like, half
you really
the reason
don't want to do it.
No, half the reason you sold it in the first place was because of the shit you were trying to do in the first place, and it's the same stuff you're trying to do now. I don't understand why you think it's going to work this time. Maybe it's that communism thing. It even if you're not communist anymore, and
you just need to try communism one more time. It's going to work this time for sure.
But they're not communist anymore. Russia isn't communist anymore. I wonder.
They'll always be communist in my heart.
I just wonder if that's what it affects you with. Like, if you've been communist once, does it just affect you? Like, let's repeat the same mistakes over and over again.
I have a meme on my phone. It shows two guys standing next to a wall outlet, and the wall outlet's bigger than they are. So they're miniature. They're just like the size of mice. And he's holding a fork up to one, and he turns to the other guy and he says, "Well, we've never tried it this way before." All ways are bad ways. So, you guys have anything else? It is 10 o'clock.
Well, I don't have anything going on. The only thing I've been doing is I've been playing the Pal World.
What's that?
Oh yeah, the Pokemon ripoff.
Oh no, it's not. It's not really. As much as they keep going there, and you know, everyone makes the Pokemon jokes because they're like slight similarities. You'd have to call out Monster World, or sorry, Monster Hunter.
No. From what I can tell, it's closer to Arc than Pokemon. It just has characters that look a bit like Pokemon in it.
It's also a little bit more spicy because you can capture humans in the world. Like,
okay.
There's no boundaries on who you can capture, and you are putting them to work. So nobody's like, I mean, some characters are obviously trapped in their balls until you use them, but you know, you've got a little army all over the place. Also, they come with guns. So I have I have a squirrel with a handgun, and I've got tansies with machine guns.
From what I've seen, it looks kind of like Arc, and that's like not my genre. It's not something that I would want to play. So, yeah, it's not really been on my radar, except for the whole nonsense about Nintendo suing them because, oh my god, it's Pokemon.
I don't think they are. I think that's more of
no. Nintendo's not suing them, but people are saying Nintendo should sue them.
I think that's the Pokemon fans, and
it is.
And even then, it's not all of the Pokemon fans. It's just the diehards who are just like.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Pokemon fan, and I don't think Nintendo should sue them. I don't think there's any point.
I was a Pokemon fan, and I love this game. Like,
yeah. My tweet on it was essentially, look, if there's any copyright infraction, then Nintendo will take the necessary legal action. If there's not, then what are we fucking worried about? What's the whole point of the conversation? It's like
it's also, I don't understand why they can't just do what you do. You know, like you can listen to me talk about a game for a few minutes and be like, okay, well, that one's not for me.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's all it is. Yeah. Like, you've moved on past that.
Yeah, I'm not going to hate you forever because you like a game that I don't.
And that's the thing that, like, I think is the big issue. I think that's the thing people are really tired about. Like, I
don't know why everyone gets so invested in this stuff. It's like really not important.
It's one thing if it's okay, if it was a genre of a show from a comic that had been around for generations, like it'd been passed down from your grandfather to your father to you, and you've really liked this character. I understand why that shit pisses you off, but that's not what this is. It's stuff coming out that people don't want to, and then they have to force you to not play it. If they don't.
I'll give you an example. There's a game called I Want to Be the Guy.
Yeah.
And it's basically just this guy decided to take all the assets from various Nintendo and Super Nintendo games and make a ridiculously hard platform game out of them. And then someone stole the game and uploaded it to Steam back when they had their Greenlight program. The guy who made the game replied saying, "I'm not going to stop you. The copyright holders for every piece of every asset that you don't have the rights to will do that for me." It's like you'll get sued into oblivion if you try and actually sell this game for money. And it's like, so he's just like, yeah, I don't care. It's like, it's not my problem if you want to do this. Just go have fun and get sued. It's like, same here. If they're going to get sued, they're going to get sued. If they're not, they're not. So that's Nintendo's problem, not mine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you don't play HOTS, you're scum to me, so.
Nope.
Actually, myself, Dax Orion, and Hate Camel have got a little group together. We're starting to play HOTS together, and we're doing really well. We played
Cool.
the other night, and we just like ran over everything. Like,
Nice.
nothing even got in our way. It was like, I just kill everything. We just destroyed. They had a lot of fun. So hopefully you can get a couple more people. We get 5 total. That could be a lot of fun when you get 5 people together and play on a team together. That's it. Makes the game a lot more fun when you can communicate and strategize and that kind of stuff. It's a big deal. So.
And Lisa says, maybe Pal World's success will encourage Nintendo and Game Freak to stop phoning it in with Pokemon and actually innovate. No, that's never going to happen. That is a vain hope. That is never going to happen.
All right, let's get out of here.
All
I'm
right.
hungry. I'm hungry. My stomach's going. Well, kind of like that. Oh.
Well, that and we fulfilled your wife's request, didn't we? Chumbawamba?
Oh yes, we're there. It is right there. You guys can't hear it because I play it kind of low when I'm talking.
Yeah.
But I turn it up at the end. But yeah, it's up now. Right? Thanks, fam, as always, for chatting with us tonight. If you can't wait for the next Wednesday show, remember, the Minions are live every evening, including weekends, with most shows starting around 11:30 p.m. Eastern, 7 days a week. Host start times are linked in the description down below. Don't forget about Rumbles, the pre-show. That stream usually starts about half an hour before YouTube, and that's where all the cool stuff happens. So you should stop by.
Yes.
We will be back next Wednesday at 9 p.m. as usual. Hope you guys enjoyed the show, and we'll see you again next week. Have a great night, everyone.
Bye,
Bye, guys.
everybody.